Welcome to TomPadulaTV and to another program of Intervista Interviews, Series 3. I'm very fortunate today that I have my cousin here, Carmela Padula, who was born in New York, I must say, and her dad went over there around 1920, and then she happened to migrate back to Italy in the early 60s, I can say that, and after that she remained in Italy and became a teacher. Whereas with me, the other way around. I came from Italy and I came to Australia and I taught Italian here to non-Italian speakers or children of Italian background. So without further ado, welcome Carmela, and I'm very happy that you are here. How long have you been here now? 2 days?
3 days, just
3
three
days.
days, and I am very happy to be with you, with my cousins, because I haven't seen you for, let's say, 10 years, even
Yeah,
more.
we've seen each other in Italy occasionally, but very briefly, but we've never had really this much time together.
So I'm glad to be with you, and I'm happy because of the warmth with which you welcome me.
Isn't it wonderful? She's speaking in English automatically, mentre io vorrei ascoltare anche la tua voce in italiano per i
Italiano.
nostri,
Okay.
per chi non parla inglese.
Vabbè.
Quindi cosa ne pensi qua di Melbourne?
Turn the knob, switch the knob. How do you say that?
No, there's no
In
need to switch
Italian?
the knob.
No, in italiano.
No, continui,
Continui
è tutta una...
in
continui
italiano.
e basta, non ti
Allora, che
preoccupare.
volevi sapere?
Volevo sapere qual è la tua impressione qui di Melbourne.
Ma molto buona l'impressione perché mi sembra una città molto civile, una città con le strade larghe, una città moderna. A me piacciono le città, non mi piacciono i piccoli paesi, forse perché rispecchia un po' la mia personalità nervosa e quindi mi piace pure
No, non
la
è nervoso, tu sei
città
nata a New York,
a New
quindi
York, quindi
sei abituata da
alla,
piccola ad
sì,
stare
alla
in una grande città.
vivacità, sì, sì, e quindi Melbourne assomiglia un po' a New York, un po' a Londra. It's a combination of European
An
and
American,
American.
yes.
So mi piace molto.
E come vedete si parla tutte e due le lingue, so the two languages are important tools in our communication skills here, but we do tend to go to English also because our interviews are in English for the general Australian public, so people who don't speak Italian here in this country. So I'm happy to continue now with the English, with English conversation. And let's go back to the early days. Your dad went to New York. When did he migrate?
Oh, he went to New York in the early 20s, I think in 1920.
1920.
1920.
So he did. So was he in World War One?
He went to World War One, and after that he went to the United States. He was an immigrant, and
And this is very interesting, the 1920s, because soon after Benito Mussolini arrived, and within a few years, all migration out of Italy stopped. And in fact, in the early 30s, I think your dad went back to Italy, and my father was in Naples, and he told me, before he died, he said, "Oh, my brother offered me a beautiful lunch in Napoli
a Napoli.
before he left for New York again."
Yeah, because my father went back to Italy to get married in 1931, I think it was, and my brother was born, Tom, was born in 1932, and there is a difference between me and my brother of 20 years because there was another world war, the Second War, and my mother didn't even receive letters because everything was
Well, was stopped. The communication with
communication
with the enemy.
with the enemy, couldn't
go on.
receive any messages at all. So my mother went there in 1947. My brother was born, and then I was born.
But in
And
fact, Italy then changed sides in around 1943, and the Americans came into Italy, and then after the war, things became easier. And I always wondered why we didn't end up in the United States rather than in Australia. But that's the way things have gone. And then what happened? Your dad, well, my uncle, Rocco, died
in 1961, and my brother, I mean my older brother, he decided to bring us back to Italy. I didn't want to go. I always hated that little town, Montemurro, because it was a jump.
I can't say that. It's beautiful,
I didn't
Montemurro.
like it that
but
much.
It was small. But
it
it
was
is small.
but I was a you know a girl, a little girl, and
I
I
met
had
you.
my friends, and I had my school, and I didn't want to lose anything of what I had.
Now,
So,
I met you in Montemurro
Montemurro.
in the early 60s.
I didn't like the bread. I didn't
and
like
you were a
everything.
very pretty girl, and so everyone, and you know, you had your little shorts there from America, and everyone in those towns at the time wasn't quite raised with the fashion statement.
Sure, I was shocked by the backwardness of the mentality of those times, because I was wearing shorts, for example, and everybody was looking at me like if I was such a kind of a baby, baby bitch.
A baby good time girl.
Yeah, baby good time. And then I went to Rome. I went
but
to
things
study
have
to Rome.
changed in Italy.
Yes,
Things have changed in Italy since then.
Yes. A
Today's
lot,
Italy is very different.
Yes.
So there has been, in 50 years, there has been a lot of progress. So Italy's well beyond
yeah,
the Italy of once.
more modern than the
than in
Americans.
the old times. Now, your brother Antonio, he became a doctor, is that right?
Yes, he is a doctor. He's a pathologist. He works in right now in San Diego, California. And I went to see him, and he comes to Italy once in a while. And but still, like, we are far away from each other.
From each other, yeah.
And I miss.
You miss
the contact.
The contact, of course.
Yeah,
but
I miss
emigration
this
is cruel. You know, living in
It's-
different countries. But we are lucky today because we can travel reasonably frequently if you have the means and if you have the willingness to travel.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go back to your brother Tommaso Carmine, same as me. Tom, he arrived in New York around 1947, you said.
Yeah, 1947. But like, he studied in Italy, but when he came to the United States, he couldn't speak one word of English, so he felt very embarrassed, and he was even embarrassed because he didn't even know his father, because his father left him when he was only 3 months old. And when he saw him, and he was about 16, 17 years old, like, he felt that in front of him, his father for him was a stranger.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me when I arrived here at the age of 15.
He had no confidence at all with
After
his father.
9 years away, and your brother was 16 years away as a little boy, one of the first questions I asked my father was, how do you want me to treat you? Do you want to be the father, or can we be friends? That's what I asked.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that Tom, your brother, had difficulties in the early days. I'm just going to go for a little break. And
okay.
we'll continue on this because that's a very interesting point. I think we'll stop here.